Good morning, YouTubers. Welcome back to our weekly yarns from Northumberland. Right, well, what's been happening this week then? Weather has been absolutely atrocious, hasn't it? Huh? Went to Mart on Wednesday. The weather turned bad. Came home, I got my daughter to drop us off at the bottom corner of the driveway on the way back up to the farm. And I would walk back up through the field for our ewes and lambs. So you just check on them, make sure everything's okay. The little one you see at the end of the video, found her lying in behind one of the shelters that we have in the field for them. The mother was standing over trying to protect her from the worst of the weather, but couldn't. So what I did, picked her up, brought her in the house. The images you see will be happening in every single farmhouse of every single person who was rearing sheep in this country today. Their kitchens, their houses, their sheds will be full of pet lambs that brought in out of the cold, that's suffering from hypothermia, couldn't get any grass because the grass hasn't grown yet because there's no milk for the little ones. So every farmer will be suffering the same thing. The little lady blackbird that you see pinching the stuff out of the my wife's hanging basket, that's the one that was coming in here. She would come in, fly around, have a look around and scoot again. And she's not frightened at all. I could be standing in the doorway here, she'll be sitting on top of the door, sitting looking at us, not bothered at all. You can see in the video how close we get to her, not bothered. So long as you don't make any sharp moves, any attempt to sort of frighten her or whatever, you just stand there, watch her, talk to her, she's quite happy. Right, so now then, tractors. Let's get on with tractors. So finally, my little thrust bearings came. Remember these? The plan with these, so it'll be 14mm, 100mm bolt. You got no idea how difficult it is to get a hold of something like this off eBay. Loads of people say they've got them. When you go to the site, they haven't got them. They've got littler ones, 20mm, 30mm, 40mm. Very few people got a 100mm. I think for two of those and two nuts, it was over 10 quid for two of them. Anyway, I digress. I've got a little thrust bearings here. See? The plan is, put the thrust bearing, we're going to put a big washer on the top of this bolt. Put my thrust bearing on. We've got our plates from my seal setters. Put one of them on. We're going to feed this through the casting, the PTO casting. We're going to see it, put it through the PTO casting, put one of them cup bearings on it. That on the other side. Nut on, big ring key on there, possibly the impact hammer on here, screwed up together, should squeeze the bearing into the casting rather than having to hammer it in. That's the plan. Probably end up still hammering it in, but we'll see. Hopefully it'll work, you know what I mean? Hopefully it'll work. So, what else are we getting done? What else are we getting done? Right, well, gear, the damaged one, been around it with the Dremel, took all the sharp corners off. There was a little bit of damage there where the teeth had come out and over, so I've just nicked that off. You can just see it there, just nicked that off. Couple of places, in fact there's one there, still got a bit on the top. I missed that one. I had a bit of feeling and I missed it, but we've got the Dremel still hanging up. We'll get that done. So we're getting that done this week. Give you a quick whiz around the PTO. We've got the PTO, we're getting the PTO casting washed and cleaned out. All the steelwork, the plates, the spacers, the packing pieces, all got wire brushing the holes we've still got to clean out at the minute. We haven't getting them done, but we will. As soon as the weather warms up and we can get back outside. We'll have a look. A couple of spacer bits. These ones keep, they go top and bottom like that, and then one of those cheek plates comes down the side. This is off the right hand side of the PTO. As you can see in there, the holes are still dirty, they need all cleaning out. We've got, here's my big cheek plates, wire brushed. Alright, again, holes still to clean out, and these little spacers came off the left hand side. Now this one, you can see it's where we've seen better days up here, but if you look at that in the light, you can see they basically just act as two big washers. The piece in the middle doesn't really matter, so we'll just turn that one upside down and it'll be fine. That'll not matter, because it's here and here that matter to give it, obviously, the spacer, so that when you put the cheek plates back on, they sit vertical. As I say, they've all had a wire brushing, just all the holes to clean off, and what we'll do is we'll get a little bit of studding down. I've got some studding that we've cut up, put a bit of Scotch pad in it, stick it in the drill through all the holes, get all the holes cleaned up. So right, now then, the ongoing saga of the iPhone. Through the week, you'll see it in part 20 of the restoration. We took the studs out of the back plate. Quick look. Oh, damn. Pop them there. So, our back plate, took the two broken studs out, hammered out a gasket, got it cleaned up, got that sorted out, right? However, we hit the same problem again with the iPhone. The iPhone, I connected to my computer through a USB. It will not, or it has stopped, downloading the videos of a medium that Windows Movie Player can play them. I have to swap in the file, to go into the phone. I have to change there's a little box at the bottom of the photos options where you can select keep originals or automatic download, which gives you a format compatible to what you're downloading to. For whatever reason, the iPhone stopped doing that. So I used to be able to stick it on to download and keep originals, and I could download them. This week it just stopped doing that totally. So I had to phone Apple. Very nice young lady on the phone. Talked us through a lot of processes. Still couldn't get it to work. We then went to iCloud.com. I had to buy some additional space, which I think is the whole process anyway, to get you to buy things, because they don't like you travelling for nothing, do they? So I had to buy some storage space on the cloud, and I can download the videos from the cloud quicker than I can get them off the phone. However, they're still in a format that Movie Player won't play them. Now, you're thinking, why do you want Movie Player to play them? Well, I normally run them through Movie Player first, just to check quality and sound before I put them through my editing suite, because if they're no good, because sometimes there's lots of little short clips that we do with filming and other stuff. If they're no good, I bin the short clips. Sometimes I'll redo them, sometimes I'll use something else. That's why I like to run it through Movie Player, but I can run them through VLC Player. But, there's always a but VLC Player, play them upside down. I don't know why. So I'm trying this with this today. I've got my phone turned the opposite way. So when we're putting through VLC Player, hopefully it'll be the right way. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? But we'll find out. So, PTO gear. What are we getting done this week? I'm going to give you a quick walk around that now, and we'll see where we are with that. Alright. As you can see, we've still got the Dremel hanging up. Here's the other bits and pieces, the plates. Here's what casting. Let's get what Dremel out of the way. Here's what PTO casting. Took it back to the farm and give it a pressure wash. You can see it's clean. If you look in here, we've got a bit of surface rust going on, flash rusting, which is, that's alright, I don't mind that. Shows you that it's clean. That'll rub off with a Scotch pad. We've got into all the bits. Oh yeah. Got into all the bits in here. Got the dirt out. You can see it's come up quite good. I'm pleased with it. Pleased what you can see there. Again, as I say, flash rusting. But that's going to get wire brushed because the remnants of the gaskets on here. That's going to get wire brushed off, as is the top. That's going to get, the wire brush is going to get across the top of there. These are the two cup bearing housings in here. So we're going to squeeze them back in with the long bolts. With these 100mm M14s. And pop them back into there. So, here's our gear. Got one edge to knock off that we found. So we're going to do this bit from indoors today. It is absolutely freezing outside. Not helping the little lambs at all. We've lost quite a few with a cold. Getting hypothermia. Anyways, question from Paul during the week. Beano. He was asking about 3-way hydraulic selector. Alright. So he's about to start and rebuild his. He was asking for some advice on this. As you can see, I've already done mine before we started the video diaries of what was happening with the 990. So, however, resealing this is not a mammoth task. What I did was, you can buy the kits to reseal these. What I did was, because I just bog standard O-rings, I bought a kit of O-rings from eBay. I think it was 13 quid for the box. I've written Imperial on top of here. This is an Imperial set. I've also got a metric set in my garage. That's why I've written Imperial on it, so I can, right. If you go to eBay to buy these, when you get them, make sure they are the Imperial ones. People have sent out the metric ones. If you look on the box, see all the sizes are in metric, but they are funny metrics. For instance, 7.65, 9.9, 9.19, 12.37. When you convert those, they are that is an Imperial set. When you're doing the old tractors, make sure you get the Imperial set. You can see, really good selection of all the sizes that you're going to need. That's what I did. I bought that because I knew I was going to need not just this, quite a few. Little job coming up in the future is this. The O-ring. This is a 332 1 meter length of O-ring cord. We're going to make our O-rings for the gearbox. That's a big one at the front for the input shaft, which seals the input shaft bearing into the gear housing. So we're going to make our own O-rings for that. Quite simple. Right, let's get back to our valves. My valve, when I acquired the tractor, this was seized solid. Hadn't worked for years. And I found out what I did was initially took this, I just put it into a bucket of diesel for about a week, week and a half, and left it sitting in the bucket of diesel. What was seized in mine was not the spool in the body. It was the actuating lever to the detents. Your detents are in this side and this side, which is what gives you your little click, right? In each side here, as in a screw on this side, I had to drill out that screw on mine. That was absolutely rotted in. I had to drill it out, get a new screw to put in there. But this side, there is a spring and a ball which acts on the top of your spool. On this side, there is a ball and a spring, and you adjust it with this little screw. So you pop it in, put it all back together, tighten the screw up till you get the required feel on the lever. Jobs are good. But when you put up, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. So to take this to pieces, if like Paul's just going to do a reseal, and he's not going to do a total strip down like I've done. I took all this off, take this out of the way, which is why the ball's missing. Paul, all you need to do, in the top of here, is 3 socket heads. I think they're 532s. 1, 2, 3. Take those out, pull the head out, the spool will come out because it's attached to the selector lever here. Pull it out, it will come out. So long as yours isn't seized, it will come out with that. Alright, if you want to dismantle it, all you do, take out the 2 Phillip head screws here, pull this out, because on the end of this lever is a little ball that fits into a hole in the top of your spool. Take that off, pull the lever off. That's why I took the ball off mine. I took all this out, took all the bits. Take the head off, the spool will still be left in the body in here. So you pull the spool out. On the spool is 2 O-rings which are 7/16 internal diameter. Swap those 2 out. Alright. In the base there's a hole, breather hole here, which stops us creating a vacuum inside it. Make sure your hole is clear. 3 bolts, 1, 2, 3. Whip those bolts off. This piece here, this casting comes off. Inside here is an O-ring, which is, what size is that? That is 11/16 internal. All the O-rings are measured in internal diameters. 7/16 internal diameter in here, right? That needs changing. You can take the bolt out here. This one here, 15, is 5/8 internal diameter, right? Now, you might have 1 or 2 on the back. Well, there will be 2. One will be on your tractor and one could be in here or stuck to your tractor. These are 3/4 internal diameter. This is your, I think this is your inlet. No, sorry, this is your inlet. So there's a pipe comes out of your back axle with the O-ring on it that goes in here. This is your return, and the O-ring just sits inside here. I've still got my masking tape across these holes just to stop the dirt getting into this valve until I need it. But these are both 3/4 in here, right? As you see, you can see I've left all the masking tape on. All the holes are bunged. just to stop the dirt getting back inside the valve. When you put it back together, make sure you put engine oil, good clean engine oil, on your O-rings when you seal all your faces back together. It's the same oil that's in your engine that's in your gearbox, the same class and weight of oil. I think it's 1040 or 1030 that you put in. But putting it back together, quite simple. If you haven't dismantled the top end, you simply slide the spool back in, put your 3 Allen heads back in. If you have taken off the selector, you've took the head off and you have pulled the spool out separately, when you take it out, in here there will be, the 2 balls will pop forward if they're not seized. Mine was seized solid into this aluminium housing, but the balls will pop forward. Do not lose them. You need to take the screw out so you can get the springs out to clean all this off. That's if you're going this far with it. When you put it back together, you put the spring into here first. Can we turn that? Right, put your spring, you go in from this side, put the spring in across to this side. You put a ball in. You then have to put a small punch in from this end to compress the spring and ball back into here while you insert the spool head into here. So the punch and the spool head basically have to occupy the same area for a little while you compress the spring, put your spool head back on. Then you put the ball and the spring in this side and you put your lock screw back in. My lock screw, put it in, got the desired tension and Loctited it. So that's Loctited in there. There's an O-ring behind here, 1-inch internal diameter. If you undo the 2 screws, pop this out, it sits inside here, and it's to create the tension and a seal to stop the dirt from entering past the ball into this area where the top of the spool is and your detents. I think it must have failed on the previous one that I had, because as I say, it was my detents, but the balls were solid in the housing, which was gripping the valve and wouldn't allow the spool to move up and down. Right, I hope that has been of use to you. So, quick recap. There's 1 O-ring in there. There's 1 O-ring in here. There's 2 O-rings on the back. There's 2 O-rings on the spool, and there's an O-ring in the top of here. That's it. That's all there is to it. And as I say, if you're going to just do a reseal, that's all you need. I would just buy, because let's face it, you're going to need more of these in the future. And rather than keep ordering stuff in, it's easier just to buy a kit, have it on your drawer, it's there if you need it in the future. Right. Hopefully, Paul, that's been helpful to you.
That shit, it's nudging them out the way. Look, pushing all the lambs out the way.
Right, well that's it for another weekly yarn. Don't forget now, if you like the videos, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, you get a notification as to when the next time we release a video so you can come and watch us again. Thanks very much now, see you next time, bye.